And then there's a big topic around the pricing. How much do you price? There are different ways to think about it. One could be, you just ask yourself, what is my time worth? So you will already know if you do a locum, what are people paying you per hour? And you can use that as a benchmark. I would typically give a markup. I would ask for more outside because normally doctors are heavily underpaid, and the normal price that people would get for comparable work with a different background would be much higher. I can't say any numbers because that kind of depends on where you're from. Different regions have different prices. It depends on how scarce it is and how much scarce your talent is and how much time you need to put in. There's this this saying or the story with Picasso, who just scribbled something quickly for somebody and then asked like a horrendous sum of a couple of, I don't know, tens of thousands. And then the buyer says, well, but it took you just a second to draw it, And then Picasso apparently said, no, this took me decades. I might be getting the details wrong with this talk, but the point is, it's not about how much time it takes you, but it's about how much time it takes somebody to get to the point to do that so fast as you can do it and at that quality. So don't be shy for asking a larger number for an hour than you normally, would feel is appropriate within medicine. The other thing to consider on that front is, what is the value you're giving, right? If you, for example, if you are advising a startup and they're putting your picture on the webpage as the credibility stamp, look, there is a doctor who has gone through our app with us and helped us make it really evidence-based and according to guidelines and written in a way that doctors agree with it. Yeah, you could charge for the time that it took you to do that, even if it's at a good rate, but your value goes beyond that because they're also using your brand, using your credibility that you acquired. They might be gaining access to network through you, right? Or you might be making introductions here and there. And there are some things that you just cannot value, right? You go to a couple of meetings, 4 or 5 meetings with a clinic. That clinic becomes the partner of this company for many, many, many years. And it would never have happened without you preparing them properly, being there, being the bridge, explaining what's going on, having maybe a follow-up call with a colleague there, all these small things. And so the value is so much more than these 5 hours that you invested. And I think that's where these equity deals become interesting, right? Because you're creating more substantial value beyond that one-off interaction. And retainers can be very good, where you just say, okay, you pay me X amount per month, and in return, I guarantee you 8 hours of my time. If I spend more, we need to talk about it. There's a day rate that you should agree on. If I do less, well, then I still get the full amount because you are benefiting indirectly from my brand and from everything else. So, it sounds very subjective, and frankly it is, but it's important to think about the impact, the value that you're generating, rather than just the amount of time that you are investing in there. And if you are unsure about prices, there are so many online platforms where people can hire consultants on an hourly basis, and you can just check. Look what a strategy consultant would get per hour. Look what a computer scientist would get, and then try to think about, okay, where do I fit into this? Am I more at the higher end, the lower end, and why? And then try to position yourself there. Right? At least for the beginning. In the future, once you have more experience with it, a stronger reputation, you can also set another premium price on top because it's you, because you already are quite satisfied with the options that you have. Just be mindful because there's only so much you can do, right? So if you undersell yourself in a way that you don't feel comfortable, and then a couple of months later somebody else comes and wants to offer you something and you have to say no because you're already committed, because there's a non-compete agreement that would create a conflict, then it's going to be annoying for you. And what I often see is that the doctors tend to like jump and obsess with the one thing that's in front of them just because they don't get enough options. And then they're afraid, well, if I don't take this, then I will have to go back to my regular clinic job, which I don't like enough. And I really want to have this side gig or something like that. But then either try to resist that temptation and widen your lens, or take it, but make sure that you have an easy way out with regards to cancellation, with regards to non-compete agreements and so on. And these are also things you can negotiate. A big mistake that I keep seeing in people is that they only focus on what's the money that I'm getting, and there are so many other things that you can play in, right? And you know best. It can also be that you say, well, I also want you, and typically that doesn't even have to be seen as a goodie for you, it's for both, but that you say, I would like us to write a press release on our collaboration and to do posts together on LinkedIn. That also gives you credibility if it's a nice company you're working with. And that's just an example, right? Or you could say, I need a budget to represent you at certain conferences, a medical conference somewhere, and you say, I need the flight, the ticket for the conference, and an accommodation. And I will represent you, I will have your name on my tag, I will create opportunities, I will bring you at least 5 contacts that are interesting, whatever it is, like give something back, of course, but these are also things that you could ask for other than just money. And if these are things that just happen to be also really interesting for you, that you would probably want to do anyway, then it's a double win. So these are just some reflections, and I hope that this adds value to you. Good luck.